Hello, hello, Lisa Christensen here with watercolor cards, and I'm so happy to show you some of my favorite ways to paint pine trees. So let's get started. You're going to want some green. I use sap green, indigo blue, maybe some yellow gold, and then I also have some red, Venetian red. They all came from this core watercolor earth set that I absolutely love. And when you open up this set, you have these 6 beautiful pigments, and I just love them. They have, so I'm using the Venetian red, indigo, sap green, maybe a little bit of raw umber, and that's about all you'll need. And I will be using a couple different techniques on this. The first technique that I want to show you is I'm going to have 3 different values for the pigments. So if I were to choose my regular sap green, this is going to be my thickest watercolor, and that's going to be more like a milky, buttery feel. Then I'm going to go in and do my more milk-like. So this is really butter, this is more like milk. See the value difference? And then this would be my tea-like value. And so that, and I'll be doing that for each 3 of the pigments that I will be using. So well, let's get started. So this is going to be, I'm going to use a fan brush for this, and this is just on white paper. Now if you wanted to, you could add a little bit of a background scene before you start. So I always like to think with the end in mind, and since I know this is going to be like a pine tree, maybe I will just paint a very loose sky. So this is a tea-like consistency. I'm just painting the sky, and I'm going to start with a little bit darker at the top, and it's just going to work their way down. And I'm going to add water as I go. And then when I get to about here, I'm going to add another kind of line. So I know that that's kind of my horizon line. And it's going to be kind of a snowy atmosphere, so I'm going to keep it light and simple, but there's the start of it. So we'll just let that dry, but that's how I would start my background for any tree, really, for any of the pine trees that I paint. So to get on to the actual tree, let me get my paper. That I had a whole bunch and I did. Now I see where it's at. Oh boy. Okay, we're gonna cut that out, right? Yes. All right, paper magic. So let's start with the pine tree. I'm going to put a tiny bit of, you do not have to do this, this is a very tea-like consistency. I'm going to put a dot here and maybe like a dot here and a dot here, so I kind of have a guide to go on. You can kind of see my little dots, just a triangle dot. Now I'm going to take this fan brush. This is a number 6 fan brush by Robert Simmons. Any kind of fan brush will work. You don't want a great big one, and you don't want a small one. You want a medium-sized fan brush. And you're going to get this fan brush wet, and you are going to start. I'm going to try and get a milky-ish type consistency. When I say milky-ish, it's just a nice little puddle of water. I can kind of see the brush strokes, and I think that'll work. So I'm going to do it pretty quickly, but what I start with is I start with the tip. I start with like the fine tip, and I'll just make a mark like that. You can kind of see it, and I'm going to go back and forth. So I start with this, and then I just kind of bounce my brush, and then eventually I'll start rolling my brush, but I'm not quite there yet. I think I'm getting there. And this is a very light, and my guides were off because my brush is a little bit off, but there's kind of the shape of the tree. It's a very light, but that's okay. We're gonna make it darker. I'm gonna get this a little bit more juicier, so there's more pigment on my brush now, and I'm adding a little bit more indigo to my sap green, so it's a little bit darker. And I'm actually gonna start up here. Again, I'm gonna use that tip of the fan brush to kind of start it, And now I can kind of get a better shape of kind of where I want it to go. And then it's just a matter of kind of going back and forth, back and forth. And sometimes I don't like to cut my, or yeah, just like that. And you get a really pretty look. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of this red to the green, and that's going to just dull up the green a little bit. And I just do it on my palette. I love using porcelain palettes. This is actually a dish that my grandma gave me. I think she was actually hoping that I would like make like a sandwich, you know, it's a sandwich plate. But we got it at a garage sale and I didn't really care. I get a lot more use out of it this way than I ever did in my pantry. But I love porcelain white dishes. Like, just I'll go to garage sales or to thrift stores just to look for fun white dishes, and I just keep playing along with that. And now I'm done, and that's all it was, and it took what, maybe 4 minutes. Now I will let this dry. What I could do is add some iridescent gold to it, because maybe this is going to be a Christmas card. And I'm going to take some of, this is just my little petal palette of tricks, and I'm going to go with this Sarago green. It's from Daniel Smith. It kind of has this brown green earthy tone to it. It's my favorite. I need to add some more to it. And I think I have a little bit of pearl mixed into it, which is fine. It's just an iridescent. It's supposed to be just kind of fun. I'm going to take my little brush and I'm just going to add a little bit of the iridescent to it. I don't want to lose the brush marks, right? I like the brush marks, but I am going to take care of those little blobs. You can kind of see. I'm going to zoom in. Yeah. See how gorgeous that is? Now if I wanted to add a little bit more texture to it, I could. Just like that. Just to give it a little bit more. I want it to look as painterly and loose as possible. I like that. Alright, now you can see if I did the background. I'll do a simple little background like this. But you can see now why I would want a background. Yeah. And why not go up at the front just to add some more. I personally like to have the background done before I do the tree, but that doesn't mean you can't. It just, you have to kind of think fast with the background if you didn't put a background in. And I'm gonna need, and this will probably bleed a little bit easier. There we go. And there's my little tree background, and now I have a spot that I could put a sentiment right here. I can also add some snow if I wanted to, but I'm going to let that be, and then I'll show you again one more time with the background and the difference that will look. So let's do that one more time. I really enjoy painting these trees. They're easy and they're fun. All right, I've got my clean fan brush ready to go, rocking and rolling with my fan brush. And I'm just making it, it's just going to be juicy and pretty, and I'm going to add a little bit more of that blue because I think a blue pine tree, like a bluish green pine tree, is so pretty, especially in the winter. And I know that that's where my base is, so I'm going to kind of put my, I'm going to start here. I don't really want to start making my triangles super big until I get to the bottom. So right now I'm just playing with the side of my fan brush, and I'm just moving in a triangle way until I can, there we go. All right. And I'm just rocking my fan brush back and forth until I get to the point where I can't do that anymore. Now I'm going to add some more of that green, or sorry, more of that indigo blue, and it's going to be very blue if you can There we go. It's very indigo and sap green. It's just a beautiful color combination, and it's very juicy. You can see that it's very, very liquidy. Yep. Okay. And this time, that blue is just going to mix in with the green and really add some beautiful traits to it. And again, I'm just going back and forth with my fan brush. And now, I don't even think I need that that red. I really like the blue from it. So I'm just going to go straight into my iridescent color and grab some of that really pretty green. Surago green from Daniel Smith is one of my favorites. And then I'm just going to add some of that gold green to it without messing too much with the blue. I don't want to mess it too much. I like that. I should probably leave it the way it is. I might add some more gold later, but right now, once it's dried, it does get to the point where you don't want to mess with it too much. And it's about to that point. It looks like it's still kind of floating. So I'm going to take this indigo blue that I have, and I'm just going to kind of add a little bit more to it. So it almost looks like maybe it's on a grassy hill, maybe it's on the snow. We don't quite know, but that's okay. That's the fun part of watercolors. You can kind of let the viewer decide if it's a snowy hill or what. And now I am actually going to add the sky a little bit darker. I think that will really help with the tree. And I'm just going to soften my edges with clean water. I don't think I have to go all the way down, but something like that. There we go. And now I can stamp. Now once it's dried, I can also, what I like to do, I like to splatter on the tree. Not too much, just a little splatter here and there. And then I'll clean up wherever I don't want the splatter. Just to give it some more of an atmospheric look. I think that helps. What do you think? You like it? It's going to dry. And then I can always add a little bit more detail. And I'll show you what I mean. Right here, it kind of lost its detail. So I can go back in with my fan brush. And I'm just going to get it dark. Like there. This is a dry brush technique. So I can go back in and kind of just tell the eye, okay, we need a little bit more definition. Especially down here. And so you do feel kind of like you're jumping around the tree a little bit. There we go. I think I'm going to add a little bit more of that blue. Yeah, I like that. There we go. And then, because I already have this blue on my brush, and then with the fan brush, I'm just gonna, since I already used the brush, it makes sense to use the brush to anchor that hill down a little bit. And there we go. You got a perfect pine tree with a simple fan brush. I hope you give this a try. If you do, and you're on the watercolor card community on Facebook, share it with me. I'd love to see it. I'm sure our fans and our members would also love to see it. And until then, hope to see you soon. Bye.